As an animator and filmmaker, the creator of the widely acclaimed Spirited Away, Hayao Miyazaki has pioneered masterpieces that have consistently garnered revered cultural recognition from the late 90s to recent times. The prodigious creative is well known for evocative films that portray the intricate connections between humanity and nature. With his disposition, it's no surprise that he included personal details or day-to-day historical happenings in his work. However, these subtleties are so well woven that they are easy to miss. In fact, they are gently infused into his award-winning masterpiece, Spirited Away. In Spirited Away, Hayao Miyazaki intertwines an environmental theme traceable to a real-world situation. It takes some digging to discover the connection. Viewers need to delve into the circumstantial elements behind the film's production to uncover the big picture. Unlike many Hayao Miyazaki works inspired mainly by folklore or fantasy novels, Spirited Away had a traceable origin. The film targeted the transition between childhood and adolescence. It was born from a moment of Miyazaki's observation of his friend's 10-year-old daughter. With the desire to create a story of courage and finding one's way in an unfamiliar world, Miyazaki created Chihiro Ogino, the character driving the substance behind his goal. The underlying mission behind Spirited Away's creation was Miyazaki's desire to create something more, something relatable. I felt this was not what they held dear in their hearts, not what they wanted, and so I wondered if I could make a movie in which they could be heroines. Every time I wrote or drew something concerning the character of Chihiro and her actions, I asked myself the question of whether my friend's daughter or her friends would be capable of doing it. Spirited Away's story featured personal connections to Miyazaki's life, particularly because he set out to create a story focused on 10-year-olds that blended fantasy and reality. However, this challenging goal was not the true hidden gem inspiring the successful work. The real magic trick hidden in plain sight isn't the spirits or soot sprites. It's the details within the movie's muck and grime. More particularly, the scene with the oozing, foul-smelling stink spirit. Spirited Away was heavily influenced by the intricacies of humanity and young girls as they navigate adolescent life. Although adolescence seems to be the story's predominant theme, Miyazaki infuses his environmental convictions ingeniously into the story. The astute filmmaker is well known for the themes of ecological consciousness and respect for the natural world he portrays in his works. Using Spirited Away as a biospheric muse, Hayao Miyazaki cleverly infuses an environmental saga with scenes that allude to reality. The stink spirit in Spirited Away was Miyazaki's direct attack on a real-world problem. It was a direct, pointed commentary that Miyazaki employed to address Japan's pollution problem. There are so many things we can't do anything about if we think about generalities. Things won't go well because there is a huge gap between the generalities and the particulars. If we see generalities from the top of a mountain or from a plane, we feel it's hopeless. But if we go down, there is a nice road running about 50 meters. We feel this is a nice road. And if the weather is fine and shining, we feel we can go on. Since the people in the community are cleaning up the river in my neighborhood, I join them when I have the time. A human can often be satisfied with the particulars. That's what I like best these days. Improvements have been made to Japan's water quality in recent years, but at the time of Spirited Away's production, industrial waste polluted Japan's waters. In his neighborhood, Miyazaki would help clean the river. Consequently, he sought to communicate the power of collective environmental action through the sequence involving the stink spirit's transformation into the noble river spirit after cleansing. At first glance, the stink spirit scene is just another one where Chihiro fulfills her duties and helps out a spirit at the magical bathhouse. However, for Miyazaki, this was a personal reflection of a societal issue he witnessed firsthand. It was a tribute to restoring nature rather than polluting it with human waste and negligence. Interestingly, the scene in which Chihiro pulls out a rusted bicycle handle from the spirit's side directly mirrors Miyazaki's life, showing that it was a moment that lingered with him for a long time. And with Spirited Away, he was able to communicate both the problem and a call to action. It's no wonder he was once referred to as the auteur of anime by The New Yorker. Spirited Away was not Hayao Miyazaki's first hybrid mix of his personal life and fiction, and it certainly wasn't his last. This inspiring technique accounts for many of his impactful filmography. It makes his various shows seem less like far-fetched fantasies and more like fantastical versions of the real world. For Miyazaki's movies, even the smallest scenes are weighty if only viewers care to explore their underlying meanings. They often serve as windows into humanity, history, and the difficulties and solutions of everyday life from Miyazaki's point of view. These qualities add an authentic value to his films. They are the virtues that account for Studio Ghibli's global success. Many Hayao Miyazaki films, like My Neighbor Totoro, Princess Mononoke, and even Porco Rosso, also serve as a window into the animator's take on polarizing subjects like post-war effects and the conflict between humans and nature. Genuinely, Hayao Miyazaki is not just an animator and filmmaker, but a storyteller who weaves pieces of his life and experiences into his richly layered fictional worlds.